The event will begin shortly. A private spiritual community dedicated to integration, healing, and personal transformation. Everything shared here today is for educational and spiritual purposes only. Whether you're exploring microdosing, preparing for a journey, or seeking integration support, you are in the right place. The event will begin shortly. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Tonight, we are talking about what quietly holds your confidence back and how to move past it. So from surviving to thriving, you can reclaim your relationship with yourself. Who's ready to get going? All right. Quick note before we begin, if you want to give this a quick read and look over. We do work in affiliation with Temple of Heart Awakening Love. It is a private member association and a 508c1a religious organization. If you need more information, you can feel free to reach out to us via DM, or at the end of this slideshow, we will give you our contact information and you are welcome to text or give a call. And without further ado, we'll get started. So does any of this sound familiar to you? Raise your hand or drop a yes in the chat. If any of these have ever sounded like you. I downplay my wins so I don't seem like I'm bragging. I replay conversations in my head for days afterwards. I look successful on the outside, but feel like a fraud on the inside. And I know what I should do. I just can't seem to make myself do it. So how many of you guys have said something like this or something similar to this to yourself? Yeah, it's very, very rare for people to celebrate their wins, which is unfortunate. We act like we need permission to do that. Yeah, and rumination, right, is huge for people. And so oftentimes you'll see people, caught in a rumination loop. At least we see people caught in a rumination loop where they are awake at 2 and 3 and 4 in the morning, and they just can't stop thinking about the conversation or what they should have said or what they should have did or, this, that, the other. It's not a motivation problem. It's a nervous system problem. And so the traditional advice says, think positive, work harder, and just believe in yourself. But high achievers already work hard and they already try. And so the real issue is your nervous system learned to survive, not thrive. You're in survival mode. You're in hypervigilance. You self-censor. You're in perfectionism. You're in people pleasing, and you have imposter syndrome probably. And these aren't character flaws. They're brilliant adaptations to past pain. So you can't out-hustle a nervous system that's stuck in survival mode. You can't outthink one either. So where are you right now on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being barely surviving and 10 being fully thriving? And you can go ahead and put your number in the chat. Surviving is reacting, seeking approval, hiding your truth. You're exhausted by connection and you replay the past over and over again. And thriving is responding. It's trusting yourself. It's speaking freely. You're energized by it. And it's designing the future. So most people in this room are hovering somewhere around a 4 to a 6. And that's not failure. That's just your nervous system in dysregulation. Layla says she's a 7. That's awesome. At least you're on the higher side of the scale, which is great. So your inner critic is not your enemy. It's your bodyguard. The inner critic lives in the default mode network, the DMN. That's the one we talk about all the time that psilocybin helps shut down. It's your self-referential hub. It's the thing, the dirty little voice in your head that says mean things or unkind things to you. And its job is to protect you from rejection, from failure, and from being too much. It identifies patterns. It's very astute at identifying patterns, but it is not always astute at identifying if it is the same pattern. So it looks to keep you on guard and tries to see if this is a pattern you've seen before, right? It learned its job from past experiences. So criticism, abandonment, trauma, shame, things like that. And so it looks for a pattern of behavior that mimics that and tries to help you avoid that trauma again. The problem is you're still running protection protocol written years or decades ago. So you're in kid speak, basically, kid storytelling instead of in adult storytelling. And it's still running that protection protocol that you wrote as a child. And your reasoning skills as a child are not the same as your reasoning skills as an adult. And so that's why sometimes these programs, they just don't serve you. It's running, it doesn't know the threat is gone. So it doesn't know that that threat is not real anymore. It doesn't know that you're not, under that threat of trauma. It's still guarding the door that no longer needs guarding because it's not happening anymore, but it looks for that pattern indefinitely. Does that make sense to everybody? So psilocybin temporarily quiets that DMN, as I said a little bit earlier. So it creates a window where the bodyguard stands down and you can finally hear your own voice, the kind one, the loving one, the one that supports you, the one that celebrates your wins. And it's important that you give that voice an opportunity to speak. It also was prominent sometimes when you get in deep meditation. So how many of you guys meditate? I know I do. Yeah, definitely. A lot of you guys do practice that, or at least try to practice that. Yeah, some even moving meditation counts. I sit in the sauna personally. So even in deep meditation, you can experience that default mode network kind of shutting down and your mind having that ability to have a reasonable conversation with yourself. So what mask are you wearing right now? So look around, type in the chat and finish the sentence. The version of me that people see is blank. The version I hide is blank. Are you the overachiever? Are you the caretaker? Are you the joker? Are you the stoic? Which version of you do you let people see? And which version do you hide? I am very much the caretaker and the overachiever, for sure. For sure. And the version I hide is the joker. I'm a goofball. And a lot of people don't know that, but I'm actually a really goofy, silly human. What about the rest of you guys? You want to whip it in the chat? Who do you show to people and who do you hide? The stoic is a common one, yes. Caretaker for sure. Lots of the ladies identify with that. Overachieving for sure. A lot of us have that as well. So every one of these masks was built for a reason, and integration work helps you choose when you wear it. So instead of being trapped behind it or hiding behind it, you get to decide which one you want to wear at any given time, given the situation, given who you're surrounded with, and what you're doing. It's kind of cool. So why just think positive keeps you stuck? It's a cognitive trap. So positive thinking works only at the cognitive level, which means you're thinking, oh, we see the joyful spirit and hide the sad spirit. And we see the caretaker and hide the joker or the stoic. Yeah. Right? It's very insightful, right? So suppressing these negative emotions actually amplifies them, right? So when you try to squish something down, what does it do? It pops out like a freaking volcano. So you can't think your way out of a feeling, and you've never allowed yourself to feel it, right? So you can't think your way out of that. The only way to get out of that is to feel through it. The somatic reality is trauma, shame, and inner resistance live at the somatic or the body level. It lives in your body, right? You guys have carried it. If you had your throat get tight, your chest get tight, between your shoulder blades kind of aches. Sometimes your hips are really tight. So the answer isn't more positivity, it's more integration. And integration is the feeling it, understanding it, and choosing a new response. And so emotions are beautiful things, guys. And a lot of times we're like, oh, I don't want to be emotional. That's silliness. What you don't want to do, I'm not telling you what to do, but you don't want to react emotionally, which is different than having emotions or being emotional. And so lots of people get emotional and then they react to that emotion in the heat of the moment, without understanding it, without feeling it, and without choosing what response they want to have. How many of you guys are guilty of that? I'm guilty of it for sure. I get emotional and then all of a sudden the story comes popping out and then I react right at the fly of the moment. Not so much anymore as I used to. I have practiced to be better about that. But that's, kind of what happens, anger, joy, sadness, whatever. But you get that emotion and you just react, right? And you don't feel it, understand it, choose a new response. Or sometimes you try to think your way out of it and squish it down. How many of you guys do that? Yeah. We've all been there. So from surviving to thriving is a 3-phase path. So phase 1 is to see it. So you identify the pattern, you name the mask, you understand the nervous system story. Phase 2 is you shift it. So it's intentional. It can be psychedelic informed integration work with a sacred container, right? You quiet the inner critic, you create neuroplasticity. It can also be breath work. It can also be meditation. Phase 3 is you sustain it. So integration coaching, somatic practices, community support, all those things, they build the new identity from the inside out. Are any of you guys doing somatic work? So Layla just said, I'm sure I have sometimes, yet I tend to understand myself well enough to choose how I want to present myself. Yet, of course, doesn't always work because I'm human. Exactly. We are human. We're messy little humans. Isn't that a treat? I think it's amazing. This isn't a weekend workshop. This is a relationship with yourself. And so you finally build this on your truth, right? And we are human. So you're not going to be perfect at these either, right? So you're not always going to be able to identify the emotion, sit in it, and then react to it. Sometimes it just happens. You just react, right? Yeah. Somatic yoga and EFT tapping is amazing. EFT tapping is amazing. It's amazing work. And somatic yoga is also very good. So what thriving actually looks like is you stop apologizing for taking up space. You are allowed to exist. You make decisions from clarity, not fear. So you aren't scared that somebody's not going to like you. You aren't scared that somebody's going to judge you. You aren't scared, right? You stop replaying conversations at 2 a.m. So you're not looping in your head being like, oh, I wish I would have said this. And why didn't I say that? And oh, that was dumb, right? You connect deeply with without losing yourself. So you get to have deep, deep connections when you show up as your authentic self. And you celebrate your wins out loud and without guilt. How many of us feel guilty when we celebrate a win? Yeah. It happens, right? It's like almost like you're allowed to complain. I've said this to my friends a million times. Like you're allowed to complain and everybody wants on board the complain train. But when you start celebrating your wins, other people are like, oh, who are you? Blah, 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 right? It's important to surround yourselves with people that are going to celebrate your wins with you out loud and without guilt. The people that want to see you rise, the people that want to see you succeed. So everybody close your eyes for 10 seconds and picture yourself at a 9 or a 10, what thriving actually looks like. Where is it you feel that? And what's different about how you feel? Because me, when I see myself at a 9 or 10, I feel joy. I feel warm. I feel free. What about you guys? How did you feel when you think about actually living in a thriving self? What do you guys feel like when you're at a 9 or a 10? This isn't fantasy, guys. It's who you were meant to be without your survival patterns. And so if you really feel into this, and you don't have to do it now, you can do it later. Expansive is a good word. Yes. Ethereal. Yes. Ethereal for sure. Free. Lots of people are saying free. I feel free. I feel joy. I feel like when the sun shines on my face. That's a good one. I love that feeling. Oh, when the wind blows in your hair. How many of you guys like that? Happy. How many of you guys like that? Like wind blowing in your hair, sunshine in your face. Soft. Amazing. Yeah. That's how it feels to be on a 9 or a 10. What if you could feel like that? Oh, safe too. What if you could feel like that every day? All the time. So let's practice right now. When your inner critic says something mean, most of us either believe it or fight it. And there's a third option. You can notice it. There it is. My little inner critic talking, and I gave mine a name. I call her Sassy Sally. You name it. That's the bodyguard. It's scared. It's not right necessarily. That's my protector. That's my whatever it is, right? And then you redirect it. Thank you for trying to protect me. I've got this. You give it a new direction. You give it something else to do. And that's not toxic positivity. That's nervous system leadership. So it's okay to notice it. Hi, I see you. Name it. What are you doing? What are you protecting me from? And then redirect it. Thank you. Thank you. Give it gratitude. I've got this. Yeah? You don't have to figure this out alone. At Silly Girl, we do trauma-informed coaching for men and women. We do personalized microdosing protocols. We help with inner critic and identity work. And we're held before, during, and after your journey, whatever that journey looks like, whether it's microdosing or macrodosing. We work in affiliation with Temple of Heart Awakening Love, which is a 508c1a religious organization, and it's a private member association. And that is your legal sacred container for plant medicine work. And it's a community also that holds you while you grow. There are men, there are women, there are co-ed groups. There are all kinds of people in there that are experiencing the same humanness that you're experiencing. And it's a great place to hang out and get to know one another. And typically it's a very positive experience. You're cheering your positivity, you're celebrating your wins. And this is not just a program, it's a homecoming. You get to be around like-minded people who are on a path of being a 10. Who wants to be on the path of being a 10 and thriving? I do. I've been working on it for years. So the real you is waiting. So what step feels safe to you? Do you want to learn more? Stay curious, absorb the information? Do you want to connect with us? Do you want to book a call and just talk to us? There's no pressure. It's just a conversation if you have questions. Or do you want to begin? Do you want to join the Temple PMA and get involved in our community? Do you want to start with a guided journey? Do you want to work toward a version of you that's been waiting? There's a gap between surviving and thriving, and it's not willpower. It's support. It's community. And I know a lot of us are seeking community. Yeah, Janet, let's remember who we're meant to be, because community is where it's at. And with all our devices and with all this work from home and all the things we do, sometimes we really lack community, right? Like a lot of us are, spending a lot of time alone, unintentionally or intentionally. And we aren't having that community connection. We're not neighbors like we used to be. And so finding a community of like-minded people is so important for your mental health. And I encourage everybody here to join our PMA just for the community portion. It's absolutely free. And then you can be around like-minded people talking about cool stuff, maybe even getting together and doing activities. Who knows? You were never broken. You were surviving, and now it's time to thrive. And so a huge part of what we do here is just connect people, get them together, have community. Here's all of our contact information if you feel called to reach out or to talk about us anything. And also, this is an open opportunity now for us to have a Q&A or talk about anything. So what kind of things do you guys want to talk about, from thriving to surviving? Is there anything you guys want to contribute? We're quiet this evening. I see Layla and Janet are here again. I've seen a couple of you guys a couple of times. Yeah. So how many of you guys are, and you guys can use the chat if you want to, but how many of you guys are using things to build community? How many of you guys are lacking community? Any of you?
I was going to jump in. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I just wanted to say, like, that the community part is so important, because we can't just be in our heads all the time, because that's how we end up looping the thoughts and repeating and just staying in that rumination of it all. And being around others, it expands your understanding of them, and as well for yourself. So I think that's a huge part that's super important, and I'm glad that that's a component here. And as far as, the actual, like, I want to find out more about any events or things like that where we can actually all be together amongst each other, because I think there's something to be said for feeling someone's frequency or energy in person. So I think that's something that I would like to tell everyone, like, I'm open. I'll be the weirdo that says, let's meet up. So I'm fine with that. And whoever's willing, like, let's just do it.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And we are working on an events calendar right now. We'll be just distributing that shortly, because we do have a lot of things going on. We have a 6-month series that you can attend virtually or in person that's coming up, and it has a different theme each month. We do have a small group where people can get together and just chat and share their experience. Like I said, we have men's groups, we have women's groups, we have co-eds groups, we have couples groups. It just depends on what your flavor is or what you're looking for at this time. So we have a lot of options to build community, so you guys can, have support and maybe make some new friends and hang out and do some cool stuff.
Exactly. And, I think that's super important, because we all get to learn from each other. And, we never know the healing that we can be giving somebody else just by being authentic and being ourselves. So I'll leave it there, but that's kind of how I feel these days. So, just even joining this whole, the meetup and everything, like, that was something I had to make a conscious intention to do it, because it's so easy to talk ourselves out of, like, oh, I don't want to be bothered, or I don't want to, but then you still have to live with that, regret or longing inside. So I think, like, these days I'm just more about taking action towards the things that I want. And like you said, observing myself, catching myself in those moments that, are trying to pull me back. Because it's a whole full-time job trying to stay focused and coherent. And it doesn't mean that we're perfect and we live in la la land. Like, there's going to be those moments. It's just you're better equipped to handle them, I want to say. Like, no matter what comes your way, you know that you can deal with it. And that's where I want to be. I want to just be in a comfortable, centered space for myself.
For sure. And I'll give you guys a little tip that I learned about self-confidence. Self-confidence does not start the way you would think. It is not about how you look. Lots of people think, well, if I looked a certain way, I would be confident. It is about exclusively 100% keeping promises to yourself. So if you say you're going to do something, it's that you do it. And it could be, I'm going to wash the dishes, and it could be, I'm going to run a marathon. That's up to you. But when you say you're going to do something, that you actually execute and do it. That's how you build confidence. How you build super self-confidence is by keeping promises to yourself and then doing a little more. So if you say, I'm going to clean out my sock drawer, and then you actually clean out the sock drawer and the underwear drawer and the t-shirt drawer, it's like you did something, but you did a little bit more. And that builds the ultimate self-confidence, because when things get rough, you know you got you, and you know you can believe in yourself. It is one of the biggest tricks you can teach yourself to be a confident human being. And it sounds all backwards, because you think, oh, confidence is, do I have nice clothes? And confidence is my hair just so, or is it this, or is it a watch? Is it shoes? Is it blah, blah, blah? It is zero of those things. Those things might make you feel good. Do not get me wrong. But self-confidence is built 100% of the time by keeping promises to yourself. Isn't that fun?
Yes, especially after the mood has passed when you made that promise. That's the test, because it's like, okay, well, now you said you were going to work out today. Are you going to do it? Are you going to get up? Come on, just do 5 minutes. And then once you do the 5 minutes, it's like, oh, let me just keep going. And then before you know it, you've done a whole 20 or a half hour.
Exactly. And that's the confidence builder is not the gym bot. It's getting to the gym because you said you would. It's crazy. Yes. What about the rest of you guys? Anything fun or entertaining you want to add? Or even not fun and entertaining? Anything interesting? Does anybody have any questions about anything? I love answering questions. You can put them in the chat if you're feeling shy and don't want to talk, but I love to answer questions. Is there anything you were curious about self-confidence, or anything for that matter? No, I've answered all your questions this evening. Awesome. Well, I truly, truly appreciate you guys coming tonight. Oh, look, me, Carol, what you got? Do you want to unmute, or do you want to chat in the text thing? Did you want me to unmute you, Carol, or do you want to type? I hear typing. Oh, imposter syndrome. I love talking about imposter syndrome. We all have it. I hate to break it to you, Carol. We all have it. And that is just the little self-doubt niggling in your head that says, why me? I'm not good enough. I'm not this, right? It's that guy. Something I'll tell you. Guess who's holding the measure stick of enough or worth or love or any of those things? You are. It's your measure of if you are enough or too much, or worthy or not worthy, or loved or not loved. You get to measure that. And as soon as you realize you're the person holding the measuring stick, it is ultimate freedom. So when you have imposter syndrome compared to who? You're carrying the measurer. So if you just throw that ruler in the trash and stop measuring yourself and stop comparing yourself and just be like celebrating those wins and getting yourself hyped up about every little thing that you do that's amazing, and I'm sure you do so many amazing things, that imposter syndrome starts to fade, because that's just the DMN, default mode network, jerk in your head telling you, oh, there's no way you can do this. You're just not good enough. You're too much. You're this, you're that, right? It's that little jerk in your head that says that stuff to you. So when you feel like you have imposter syndrome, it simply is that. It's the DMN yelling in your head, telling you the story from when you're a kid that is no longer true. And so if you do what I said previously about building your self-confidence, that DMN guy, he starts to shut the heck up, because you're like, you know what? I said I was going to go clean out my sock drawer. And not only did I do that, but I also cleaned out the other 2 drawers too. So there, I am not an imposter. I am a badass. And then you just keep building on that. And I know it seems trivial, but it is the true way to be free of imposter syndrome, is to celebrate those wins and keep those promises to yourself and show up for you every day, just like you show up for everybody else, and you'll start to see it. Does that help?
Hi. Yes, and that helps a lot. Thank you so much. Also, I wanted to connect that syndrome with anxiety. I don't know if you get that. Like, I create these disastrous um, situations
Uh-huh.
that gets me to like amplify the imposter syndrome. I don't know, like my boss is mad at me, he doesn't like me, uh,
Right.
I'm
That's
doing
your
everything
DMS.
wrong, so I don't know.
That's your default mode network. Probably the chances are good none of that is true. None of it. You just decided to tell yourself that story and ruminate in it because some story, some program you have running led you to believe that's the case. And it's almost always not true. And I know it's hard, but it's building that self-confidence where you keep the promises to yourself and then you stop worrying about it. Like, if my boss is mad at me, then they'll get over it. People are human. We make mistakes. So what? I owned it. I corrected it. What else? You know? It's really that space where you just really believe in yourself. Does that help?
Yes, and as you said, it's really, really hard
It is.
to put those thoughts behind. It's like sometimes it's almost impossible because it goes like infinite thoughts,
I know.
and
And
they hurt you. They really, it does sometimes hurt, like thinking about that, feeling that,
it does.
and it's tough.
I know everybody goes through this. You're not alone. And I need you to know that you're not alone. All of us go through that. And as soon as you can start working towards just redirecting and reframing those thoughts, it becomes easier. But it's a practice. It's like riding a bike. You don't point your bike down the mountain the first time you get on it, right? You learn on flat ground and you may fall down a couple times. And this is the same practice where you just start building up that confidence and you start quieting that inner critic and you redirect it and you thank it for trying to protect you and then you let it go and move on. And it does take practice for sure. And we are here to support you in that practice, which is amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so glad you're here and thank you for talking. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts or anything?
I want to jump in real quick. I really, really love something you just said earlier, and it hit me. And I even said, wow, but none of you could hear me because I was muted. It was basically when you said at the end of the day, when you think it's hard and when it is hard, at the end of the day, when you tell yourself that I got you, that one got me. It's such a powerful add-on to that doubtful sentence, and I think that's it was just so powerful. At the end of the day, you can tell yourself that I got me. It's so self-empowering. So thank you for saying that.
You're welcome. And thank you for noticing and sharing that with us.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end the stream so we can talk a little more freely. So hang tight. There'll be a little exit thing, and then we can resume our conversation. So hang on one sec, guys. Thank you for showing up today. Your willingness to explore, to question, and to awaken matters. If what you heard resonated with you and you are ready to take this deeper, we are here for that conversation. Silly Girl provides trauma-informed coaching and integration support in affiliation with Temple of Heart Awakening Love. Schedule a 1.1 call with me using the link in our bio. Let's talk about your journey.